Hi there guys, it's Adam Martin here, and welcome back to another video on AMTV Who, a rather exciting video because it has literally just been announced that Season 15 of Doctor Who, starring Tom Baker, is going to be the next season to be released as part of the collection range on Blu-Ray. Now, I'm a big fan of this whole line, the fact that we're going to get all of Classic Who eventually on Blu-ray in these beautiful box sets that are crafted with so much love and attention, brimming with special features as well, is really exciting. And I love every time we have an announcement. The last one we had was Season 20, from 1983. That was released in September, and it seems the last few years we've been having 2 a year, which is absolutely fine by me. If they're going to have just as much quality every single time, I'm fine with 2 a year. So let's have a look. The BBC posted this. Season 15 announced as the next installment in the collection Blu-ray range. Tom Baker's 4th season as the 4th Doctor will be the next one to be released later in the year. They can build their home archive on Blu-ray with a 7-disc box set of the 15th season from 1977 into 78 as well, starring Tom Baker as the 4th Doctor, containing 6 classic stories, and it's packed with bonus material. Now, right off the bat, it's telling you where you can pre-order it. The usual places: Amazon, HMV, Zavi, and Rare Waves here in the UK. I pre-ordered mine from HMV. You get a look at the artwork here, done as always by the marvellous Lee Binding, and this one is chocked brim. You've got the 4th Doctor there in one of his most iconic outfits, the scarf billowing, jelly babies in hand there, flying out of the bag, and of course all the monsters of the season as well, including Sontarans, Rutans, the Swarm, loads of stuff there. These stories feature Louise Jameson as the Doctor's warrior companion Leela, and the introduction of trusty robot K9, building towards an epic showdown on the Time Lord's home planet Gallifrey, with the Doctor pitted against his old adversaries, the Sontarans. All episodes have been newly remastered from the best available sources, and the classic adventures have never looked or sounded so good on home media. The Blu-ray box set includes extensive special features, including, here we go, updated special effects exclusive to Blu-ray, specifically on Horror of Fang Rock, which will be really interesting because, having watched it, there are lots of special effects in it, but out of all the stories you could have picked, I know they already did updated ones for Invasion of Time when that came out on DVD, but yeah, good to see it on Horror of Fang Rock when that comes out. Behind the Sofa, love this series, absolutely. So it has new installments with Louise Jameson, Colin Baker, who of course is the 6th Doctor, Sarah Sutton and Janet Fielding, who were companions in the 5th Doctor's time, as was Matthew Waterhouse, Adric of course. Katie Manning's here from the 3rd Doctor's era, and we have Betson Roberts, who is the wife of director Pennant Roberts. So not someone we've had on Behind the Sofa before, but I always like when they get new people to do it as well. It keeps the series feeling a bit fresh as well, so great lineup there. Oh, and we've also got the comedian and presenter Toby Haydock, who appears on a lot of the documentaries and is just seemingly a great individual in general. The work and love he puts for these box sets, just as everyone else does, is great. You get the Blu-ray trailer, the brand new scripted trailer to announce the set. We'll talk about that just a second, don't you worry. Darkness and Light, a look at the life and career of producer Graham Williams. I'm so excited for this because I love when they do documentaries, like big documentaries on these key people in Classic Who. Like I love the one they did on John Nathan Turner for season 26. So if it's going to be similar to that, then I'll be fascinated to learn about Graham Williams, who of course produced season 15, the first of his 3 that he produced during Tom Baker's time. You have the In Conversation series that is hosted by Matthew Sweet. He's chatting to Louise Jameson this time. I'm sure that'll be insightful, as they all are. Inside the Lighthouse, the making of Horror of Fang Rock. So did Horror of Fang Rock not have a making of on its DVD release? There was this weird thing with budgets and timings and stuff that some Classic Who DVDs, when they came out, when they were released individually, didn't always have making ofs. It wasn't a prerequisite. Horror of Fang Rock came out in 2005 on DVD or 2004. So maybe it didn't have a making of. Really interesting. You have Tom Talks, which is Tom Baker musing on life, the universe, and everything. It's so great that he's still a part of this box set because, bless him, he is very old now. He's approaching 90. And, I think it's fair enough that he can't be expected to appear on things like Behind the Sofa or necessarily in all of these scripted trailers that they've been doing. But it's still nice that they get to include some new content with him, probably filmed at his home, no doubt, that he's still included on these sets, which is great. You have audio commentaries, exclusive new audio commentaries from Tom Baker himself. There you go, getting him involved. It doesn't specify whether that's going to be on all 6 stories from this season or maybe just a few, but any new audio commentary with Tom Baker, I will lap up, absolutely. You have a 5.1 surround sound mix on Horror of Fang Rock. Gee, Horror of Fang Rock's getting a lot of the special attention. I mean, fair enough, it's a great story. Probably Is it the best of the season? And then lots of archive stuff, which I love. Rare convention footage, Tom Baker Blackpool exhibition links, rare archive treats, HD photo galleries, and all the usual stuff, infotext, PDFs, and more. This is what I mean. They brim these to the absolute maximum, which is great. You know, a lot of physical media box sets for even long-standing television or movie franchises don't get the sheer love and attention that Doctor Who does. So we should consider ourselves very, very lucky. The 7-disc box set also includes hours of special features previously released on DVD, as you'd expect, like the documentaries, updated special effects, featurettes, audio commentaries, and more. And then the specially shot announcement trailer, which is on the YouTube channel. It is called The Final Battle, but the title of the video is Leela versus the Time War. Set in the Time War, which is really cool. Anyone who's a fan of Leela's, history after she leaves. She does end up on Gallifrey, but she has a whole life on Gallifrey. Big Finish cover a lot of that territory, and it's so great to see Louise here in these Gallifreyan robes, staring at Gallifrey in the Time War. And I love all like the links to Modern Who as well. You've got obviously the Daleks from the era, which are there. You've got how Gallifrey looks as interpreted by the modern series. Even everything down to the robes is stuff that, modern Doctor Who introduced. And one of my favourite moments, I mean, Louise kills this, can I just say? Louise absolutely smashes this from an acting perspective. Because, this is just, a couple minutes to announce a trailer for a Blu-ray box set. But as any good actor should, she treats this with the utmost sincerity and passion that she has shown this character and this franchise for more than 45 years now. But what I love is when the Doctor's mentioned by the other Time Lord who's with her, and you get this beautiful refrain of Murray Gold's, the Doctor's theme. I think it's a version of the 10th Doctor's one, but that theme just always hits. And to hear it in this trailer, a lovely blend of the classic and the modern. And, it's so great to see Leela eventually appear in the 4th Doctor's TARDIS with the 4th Doctor there. Stock footage, of course, looking on at her. It doesn't have like a post scene or anything. That is what you see at the beginning is what you get. But I think it's beautifully acted. Probably the best acting we've had in these announcement trailers. And also, the budget seemingly, I mean, it might just me being naive, but the budget seems to have gone way up. Like the scale of this, you've got Gallifrey, you've got the Daleks, you've got all sorts going on. I was so mesmerized by this little trailer, which again, when you think about it, is for a Blu-ray box set. But props to Pete McTighe who wrote this. Props to anyone who worked on it, particularly props to Louise for knocking it out of the park once again as Leela. So fabulous stuff. Go watch it on YouTube if you haven't seen it already. And then it rounds off this article just by telling you, obviously, the stories that are included, which we'll get to. So you have The Horror of Fang Rock, The Invisible Enemy, Image of the Fendal, The Sunmakers, Underworld, and The Invasion of Time. So, as I mentioned, you can pre-order it at various places. In terms of when it's out, they haven't given a release date yet. Sometimes they do with these announcements, sometimes they don't. This was leaked this morning or late last night on the BBC shop in America or Canada, and that listed its release date being around early June. Now, the Region 1 releases in America, Canada, etc. always tend to come a few months after we get them here in Region 2. So my guess would be maybe March time. Last year was March and September, so it wouldn't surprise me if this year follows that same suit, if that's indeed the release pattern they're going for. But what do I think about Season 15 on the whole? Well, I must admit, when I was going through watching Classic Who, like for the first time, so between the ages of, say, 9 and 18, it literally did take me nearly 10 years. Season 15, for me, initially, I always felt to be quite a mid sort of season. But I don't know, I think at the time I found it very mid. Let's go. I mean, Horror of Fang Rock is definitely a strong standout. I love the, really eerie atmospheric vibes it goes for on the lighthouse. Always a scary setting for any kind of story. Nice that we get the Rutans involved, who, of course, the age-old enemy of the Sontarans. And I think it might be my favourite, or one of my favourites from Season 15. It definitely feels like a holdover from, the previous era, which definitely lent more into the horror side of things. But Horror of Fang Rock is a strong one. The Invisible Enemy, of course, what people really remember this for is the fact it introduced K9, who would go on to be such a staple in Doctor Who for many years to come, and is still beloved or despised by various corners of the fandom, no matter where you look. But I think this one had a lot of ambition. There's a lot of very intriguing, blue screen and green screen effects here that were probably attempted on a huge scale. Does it all work? Not necessarily, but I think out of this season, this is an example where the effects work a bit better. And to be honest, I haven't seen The Invisible Enemy in a very long time. It is one that I need to rewatch, which I will do, of course, when these all come out. Image of the Fendal, again, going with that more eerie horror type setting. I think when I watched it originally, I was just sort of like, okay, like some good stuff, but maybe not as good as stuff seen in the Hinchcliffe era. But I rewatched it a few years ago and was actually quite captivated by it. So I'll be interested to watch it again soon to see if that's changed. The Sunmakers, again, a lot of allegories in this one. You know, it was written by Robert Holmes, who's probably the most prolific Classic Who writer out there, certainly the most renowned. It was speaking to all the issues with tax at the time and all the problems in the UK economy in the late 70s. So a very political story, might even have some merit now. I always love Robert Holmes's writing and how he weaves these things in. So that, again, I think writing-wise is one of my favorites for me. But aside from that, I don't remember finding this one particularly to stand out. Again, when I watched it ages ago. Underworld, oh boy, Underworld. This is like the black sheep of Tom Baker's era. I think some people would say that. Heavy use on special effects, blue screen. A lot of it is very hokey. A lot of it doesn't work. A lot of it looked a bit bad even by 1978. And you think Star Wars had come out at this point, which of course pushed the boundaries for what was possible technically. Now, Doctor Who wasn't Star Wars. It was a TV program on a small budget. And there was lots of contributing factors to Underworld as well. I remember rewatching it and thinking, yeah, the effects are a bit hokey, but you know, the story isn't bad, but again, doesn't blow you away. So again, I think this is going to be one, when I rewatch it, I'll be curious to see if I completely shift on it or if I'm going to stay the same. And the Invasion of Time. I think the Invasion of Time gets a lot of hate. I actually think Invasion of Time is a very underrated Fourth Doctor story. I love all the Gallifrey stuff it's got going on for it. I love exploring the TARDIS, even if it's, you know, just filmed around various parts of a hospital or whatever it is. I think there's a lot of merit to this story, and it gets bashed around a lot unnecessarily. So between that and Horror in Fang Rock, I would argue that might be my favourite, but I think Horror of Fang Rock, for me at least, just edges it out a little bit. So yeah, as we record this, as I'm talking to you now, I think Season 15 is still sort of lower down in my estimations. I still find it to be a sort of very mid-season. It's not a season I necessarily connected with much. It's not one I tend to revisit often. And it's true. Like, you know, there are some seasons, like Season 22, for example, Colin Baker's first. I go back to that a lot. But Season 15 just isn't one of those for me. I'll still pick this up, of course. I'm looking forward to rewatching all of these stories again, just to see if my perspective changes on them. Hopefully, they'll change for the better. You know, I'm an old man. I'm an older guy now than I was, you know, when I was a kid. I'll have different perspectives, different appreciations. But I'm just so excited to see yet another set in the collection series is coming. Hopefully coming within the next few months. We'll wait and see. But I'm excited to sit down and watch Season 15 all over again. But let me know what you think about this. Are you excited for Season 15? Was this the season you were hoping for that was going to come next? Did you want one of the other ones to come next? Let me know all your thoughts about it. Let me know your thoughts about Season 15 as a whole down in the comments below. But that's all for this video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to us here at AMTV Who if you're brand new as well. We'd love to have you aboard. In the meantime, I've been Adam Martin from AMTV Who. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time for another trip in the TARDIS.